everyone, welcome. My name is Uriel, and today in the screencast we will be talking about dining in America. What we're going to do is compare what's it like to dine out in America versus dine out in Asia, just so we kind of have a guide, and we also can compare and contrast the level of standards that American restaurants uphold versus those that standards of the Asian restaurants. Now, what we're going to cover here in these topics are hygiene standards, staff and service standards, food portions, types of foods that are most readily available, as well as tip etiquette. And my hopes is that those of you that are watching will get a better understanding of what to expect when dining out in America. So if you're planning on going there for a holiday, to further your studies, or even to migrate there, you kind of have an idea of what to already expect. So without further ado, let's jump into this topic here and start exploring. Now, hygiene standards. Well, in Asia, it's not very hygienic. Let me give you an idea or more a picture of what's it like. Most of the restaurants are in shop lots. Now, shop lots are connected to other shop lots, so they come in rows of 5 to 10. And most of the time, each shop lots can hold about 50 people, give or take, and have very limited kitchen space. So with limited kitchen space, most restaurants get a bit creative and move some of their operations to the outside behind the restaurant, typically the area where trash is stored. If you can see this picture, it's not very hygienic because trash is everywhere, and they're washing dishes on the floor and prepping raw produce and food outside, where it is already unhygienic. So a lot of bacteria flying around, getting everywhere. So the level of hygiene is very low. And we compare this to America, where we see now that, there are staff dressed nicely, covered up, wearing hairnets, a hat over that, and a face mask, all to keep clean, to keep bacteria away. And they're doing this inside the restaurant in a very controlled and clean environment. We can see also here on the left that they have the proper tools that allow for proper washing and cleanliness of the utensils. And this again is done inside the restaurant in a very clean and controlled environment, therefore keeping the hygiene standards very high. Now, moving on to service standards. Now, in Asia, just a picture of the service standards. It's very frustrating for most of us to go and eat because most of the waiters and waitresses, we feel like we're dealing with primates. This is because most of them do not speak well in English or cannot communicate in local dialects such as Malay, Mandarin, or Cantonese. And most of these restaurants, waiter and waitresses come from Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, and are not given proper training and are not given proper understanding of the restaurant's products, such as what type of food, what goes into the food. So they're just there to kind of basically communicate what we want from the consumer end to the kitchen so they can produce what we want to eat. However, since they do not have any training or cannot communicate well, the process takes very long, and it's a very frustrating and drawn out process to get your order. In America, however, this doesn't really happen, as most of the time the waiter and waitresses there in America are given a lot of training. They are taught how to greet guests, how to communicate with them, how to relay an order to the kitchen, how to edit an order, how to handle specific situations. So service in America is very easy, very standardized, as well as very easy to understand what the waiter is saying or try to tell you, as well as for him to understand what you're saying, just as long as we can speak English. Moving on, we also have consumer rights in the restaurants. So in Asia, most of the time, if an order comes and it's wrong, most of the waiter will say sorry, and it is expected that you to eat the meal, consume the meal still, even though it is not what we originally ordered. However, the difference in America is that they will attend to your needs, and if you do alert the waiter or waitresses that he has given you the wrong order or not edited the order as you like, that he would gladly apologize, change, even bring a manager out to rectify the situation. I remember once we were eating out, me with a few buddies in America at the Cheesecake Factory, and we ordered a dish without nuts. However, it came with nuts, and we had alerted the waiter. He kindly apologized and brought a manager, which was really sweet of him to change the dish for us, as well as give each of us a complimentary cheesecake. So these are the level of service that you can expect from a restaurant in America. Next, we move on to the service standards as far as food portioning goes. Now, in Asia, food portion comes in a very small portion. It doesn't fill you up to the brim. Neither do you leave the restaurant hungry. But it's based a lot on rice and noodles. So we'll get pairings like rice and chicken, rice and beef, rice and pork, or we get noodles with chicken, noodles with beef. It depends on what style you want. But here we can see on my left, we have a very famous noodle here in Asia. It's called wonton mee, and I highly recommend it to anyone that is coming to Malaysia. It's a very flavorful, very tasty dish. But these are the types of food, very rice and noodle based. However, in America, what we expect is giant portions of foods, very big portions. As you can see, the ribs are hanging out the plate. I know I'm exaggerating a little bit with the burgers, but I just want to prove a point that the portions are big. Most of the times, when you come from Asia, you're not used or accustomed to it, so sharing with a friend is advisable. However, the food types that are available in America are mostly meat-based, so burgers, steaks. We get some pastas as well. So therefore, those are the types of most common food in America. Now, moving on to the tip etiquette. Most of the time in America, when we dine out and we're being served at a table, it is customary to tip 18 to 20% for satisfactory service. So, for example, if we are paying the bill, we get the check, as we can see on the bottom right, and it's $21.71. So about 18 to 20% of that is $4. So we tip accordingly. However, if we are not satisfied with this service, we can tip 10%. Therefore, when tipping, it is customary to evaluate your satisfaction with the service overall from the start of your meal all the way to the end when you ask for the check. And again, tipping is mandatory. Little rule is again 18 to 20% for satisfactory. And if you're not satisfied, 10% will do. I hope this helps and gives you a general guideline of what it's like to dine out in America. And I hope that you will enjoy your experience out in a restaurant in America. Thank you very much. Good night.